Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel where we review anything and everything. And today we are getting into another board game. We already did one version of this that we unboxed and reviewed. So this is the X-Men version of the Marvel United, or I should say Marvel United, the X-Men core set. So this is not an expansion, this is a core set, meaning that this could be a standalone game. Whereas I had reviewed, or I did an unboxing on the Spider-Man Spider-Verse, I believe it was called. The exact name was Spider-Verse, Marvel United Spider-Verse, and that was an expansion, meaning that you needed one of the core sets. So this is a core set. So you can see the box art here. Pretty much focuses on the X-Men. Now there are two additional expansion sets that could be purchased that have the X-Men Gold and the X-Men Blue. So if you want to expand the X-Men group, you can do so. And I kind of like how that gives you just in the three sets alone, gives you pretty much the entire team of the X-Men, though there are other X-Men sets like Age of Apocalypse and other things that are different timelines and different scenarios. If you want just basically the basics of the X-Men characters, you can get that in a total of 3 sets, where the original core game, which is the one that I showed, just Marvel United is what it's called, but essentially you could say that's the Avengers kind of group. They're a little more scattered if you want to try to grab a good set of Avengers characters all in one. They're really all over the place. There's a Thor set that caters to Thor, and a few of characters from Asgard. I think it's called Asgard in the title. And if you want to get Thor, you'd have to do that. If you want to get certain other figures, the Civil War one will give you a lot of Avengers figures. So you really kind of go all over the place to get an Avengers group. So I kind of like that about the X-Men, that you can get 3 sets and you would pretty much have that. Here you can see, and pause it to read for yourself, a little bit of description of the X-Men stuff here. Here goes the figures that come in it. So like I said, even though there are other X-Men characters, let me adjust the angle a little bit. Okay, so even though there are other X-Men characters from the gold and the blue set, I make that reference because if you had them, they'd be side to side or side compatible with this set. This gives you a certain core of characters who are actually a little bit from the gold and a little bit from the blue team in general. But these are probably like some of the core guys that, it makes you feel, I feel like this is enough X-Men characters that you feel substantial with the X-Men team if this is what you have by itself, even though if you can get the other sets along with it, it would be even better. So you have Professor X, Cyclops, Jean Grey, Beast, Wolverine, and Storm. And the villains, you have Juggernaut and Sabretooth, and Mystique and Magneto, or what they title anti-villains, or characters who could be played both as heroes and villains. In total, you have 10 characters, similar to the core set. The original core set has 10 characters as well. But this one gives you more villains. And because 2 of them could be played alternately, it's almost like saying you have 8 heroes and 4 villains, even though you still only have 10 characters. So that part is interesting. We are going to just rip into the box now. I feel like I'm having trouble ripping into the box. My knife is actually getting pretty dull, so that's kind of bad when a knife cannot cut through the plastic. Let's use a different one. And the only thing that knife is really used for is cutting through boxes. So I try to make that the only knife that I use for that, so that way I don't make other knives dull. But at the same time, it's funny because boxes will make your knives dull. There we go, a little bit better of an angle. So as I said before, and this is just going to be unboxing. Now, from my understanding, sometimes new core sets will introduce, or even some expansion sets will introduce new rules. Like from my understanding, the X-Men Blue and Gold expansion introduced a mechanic where you both are battling to defeat the villain faster. Who could defeat the villain faster while you play simultaneously? Some ones have different rules. I'm not going to go into that with this. It does have additional rules, but I did go over the gameplay of the original set and reviewed it. So for the most part, all of these will be similar in that regard. And there we go. This is the box art. Looks very nice, stylish, cartoony, but it still looks good. I like that they put Wolverine and Sabretooth both on that side. So let's get into this. Here goes our rules. And this should tell you about all the basic rules and the basic turns, how they normally would in the previous one, which it does so far. I don't know if it has any bonus rules. Here it says additional rules, so these are the additional rules for this one. Anti-heroes. This one introduced the anti-heroes. Now I don't know if in the any of the expansion sets introduced that for the original Marvel United, but at least for this was the second core set. So you had the original one that I showed you in a previous review, and this was the second core set. The third core set is Marvel United Multiverse, which, funny enough, I wasn't really interested in purchasing that. I saw it on a super good sale on Amazon, so look for that if you ever see it on that same level of sale. It was $10. Afterwards, I kind of regretted it and wish I would have bought it just because it was $10. But anyway, link's going to be in the description for you to purchase this on Amazon. So it tells you the anti-hero rules. It says villain, delay, accelerate. So invulnerability, crisis. So additional rules. Some of them are combo from the previous one and some of them are not. So supervillain mode. I don't know if those were from the original or not as well. So that's that. And one thing I didn't realize in the original one until after I finished playing it was that you have a quick guide rule set on the back, and I kept flipping through the pages when I was playing the game, but you could have just flipped this, excuse me, hiccups. You could just flip that over and have seen that, and that would have been the basis for running the turns. Here you have these tokens. Now this tells me already that these type of tokens were not inside the original one, so there must be some kind of game mechanic that goes with them. This looks like some kind of targeting. I heard of rules that say something about a hunter type of targeting inside the set, I think, and that looks like Senator Kelly, so who knows. Now this one has a silver little die for a marker. It's a marker that goes on like one of the charts, like a time chart. And in the first one, the original set, it's a blue one. So this one's silver. Let's see if I can remove this. We'll just take a glance of everything that comes inside the box. So these are the locations. Muir Island. You can pause and read for yourself for all the effects that come with the area. Genosha, which anybody who was seen X-Men 97, this is definitely something that, you know, stands out now even more so. The X-Jet, Asteroid M, Weapon X Facility, Sentinel Space Station. That's cool. You see all the mutants trapped inside there. The hangar bay of the, I guess, the X Mansion, or the, yeah, X Mansion, and Xavier Institute for Higher Learning, or the X Mansion. Fun little note. The Lego just made a X Mansion set, and it actually is pretty nice, even though it's a little small, but it's definitely pretty nice. And back around to Muir Island. Here will be our villain cards. We'll take a quick glimpse at those as well. Here goes the tracker for your dashboard. So you have Sabretooth here. You could pause it and read it for yourself, but you can see his stats. His health can either be 5, 7, or 10, depending on the number of players. Juggernaut is 888, so that's interesting. He stays that same power level all throughout. So I don't know if maybe his abilities are different. Let's see. When he KOs, KO. Juggernaut doesn't activate his BAM. Instead, draw another Master Plan card. I don't know if there's anything within his powers that balance him out, because otherwise that health just makes him feel like if you have less players, he's just going to be really tough. If you have more players, he's just going to be easier because health didn't change. What's interesting is that he has less total health than Sabretooth. Well, he probably has less total health than anybody on the higher level. Here you have Mystique with a 4, 6, and 9 for her health, depending on the players. See, she has something to do with Senator Kelly, so that she's probably there to try to assassinate him, which is to stop maybe putting in effect the Sentinel program. Who knows? That's how the story was in certain mediums. And then you have Magneto here with a 5, 7, and 10, similar to Sabretooth. So those are the villain cards there. Let's just go over some of the tokens first. Yo, Juggernaut, he looks really awesome. I'll just go straight across with them. You have Wolverine. And obviously by now you guys will know that all the characters here have this kind of over-exaggerated look about them. Where they're larger on top than they are on the bottom. Little Cyclops. What I want to do is pull the ones on the bottom out because they keep hitting the ones above them. Now you have Beast, who whenever, usually he was originally part of the X-Men Blue Team, or even in this set, or whenever there's no other stronger character around, Beast is the acting strong member, even though he's really not all that physically strong. He's actually more agile than he is strong. But yeah, Magneto. Back in the days, they used to always call him Magneto. Just thought it made more sense, but Magneto. Nice figure design too, with all the metal beams. Here you have Sabretooth. That classic costume. This is like his second costume actually, so, but still classic now because that came in like the 90s. Storm, who actually is the leader of X-Men Gold Team, while Cyclops is the leader of X-Men Blue Team. So of course they didn't put them on those teams. They used them to actually fill up extra side characters that are less important, because obviously the core set, you're going to want to have your most known and more important people. Professor X, if there was going to be a set, he's done nice with the chair. If there's going to be a set that he was going to be in, it definitely would be the core set, even though the truth is he's probably one of those guys who, you know, you probably wish you had him replaced with someone else a little more, you know, in the fight type of character. Here you have Jean Grey. And then last we have Mystique. That's funny how the movies have made Mystique such a famous character. Similar to like how the movies have made Iron Man a famous character, the live action. Mystique was never all that popular. She was always known, but was never as popular as she was until the movies. So it's interesting how that works. And now we're going to open up the cards and just give you guys a quick look at those. These are the villain cards. Interesting. They got a little bit of card shaving on the cards, like if they were just freshly cut out of the factory. But just organizing these a little bit, separating them, so when I show them to you guys, you'll be able to see them. I'll start with Sabretooth. You could just pause these and read them for yourself if you want, but I'm not going to really go through them like that. I'll go through all the hero cards. just so you guys get a sense of these characters, the villains, and their abilities. I'm not going to go through all the cards inside this thing as well. Like they have the super villain cards and all these other things, but just, you know, go over the characters. So that was Sabretooth. Here is Mystique, and she happens to have a couple of characters. Look at that, it says in a 2+ game. She's in a 1+ game, Destiny. So she's got Henchman, Pyro, Toad, and these are her general attack movement cards. Metamorph. You can read those details. Master Assassination, so move to his location. I guess in her powers of her cards, she'll probably end up having something where she tries to attack him. Now we have Juggernaut. Okay, those are the same cards. Power of Sidorak is the same card too. Seal of Sidorak. Some of his basic movement and bam. Unstoppable Charge, Crimson Cosmo Armor, and another one of those. He might be straight up like the Bruiser type, which might make it kind of interesting as well. The only thing I have mentioned one time before in the other review that I think is kind of lacking in this game is not having a health bar for your characters. The way it works, Scarlet Witch, Quicksilver, Mastermind, the Blob, nice. He's got his own little Evil Mutants little setup. Organic Iron, Manipulation, Magneto's helmet. Yeah, one thing is just not having a health bar, because the thing about it is that when you, in this game, when you take damage, for the most part, it feels like you can't lose unless pretty much the story runs its course and you just run out of cards, which at that point is pretty much just always at the end of the game. Like there's no way you can lose or die earlier than the end of the game. So you can lose. This is at least my understanding of it. I don't know if I was playing it wrong in any kind of way, but the way it seems is that there won't be a time where you say, okay, we did so bad that we lost immediately at the beginning of the game. No, it's like it's always going to come down to the end of the game, and that will always be the moment that you'll know if you're going to lose or not. It won't be like you're going to lose from the beginning of the game. You realize it's doing so bad. It doesn't work like that. So that part I think is a little funny in that regards. I'm just going to run through it like this rather than separate them. So here you have Beast. You see his basic cards. Nice artwork, of course. And obviously it comes down to a character having see regeneration factor. Beast is not even really known for having an advanced regeneration factor. He may have some okay healing. Your bonus cards, what I was getting at, Genius Intellect, is what all characters kind of really come down to. So Cyclops here. I wonder, is he going to have any kind of leadership type of cards? Optic Blast. Leadership, yep, because he's the leader of the team. And you have Jean Grey, nice art as well. Major Telekinesis, Telepathy, Magneto as a hero, Magnetokinesis, you like. That's pretty good. Genius Intellect, So he doesn't have a repeat of these. These are two separate cards. One does something slightly different than the other, which is interesting. Usually you'll just have two of the same. And Mystique, Spy Master, Metamorph, Professor X. He seems to be somewhat of a leader type, also genius intellect. There's a couple characters with that same kind of ability. I don't know if the power is the same, but the text as far as the name is the same. What's funny is the actual stats of these characters, Magneto, Professor X, and Beast, both do have genius level intellect based on Marvel's stats. Leadership. He's got two different types of leadership. That's pretty good. Telepathy. Mind alteration. He seems to have a lot of cards. Or it's just that they're not doubled up. Storm. Atmokinesis. In any location, that's actually very good. I didn't realize that. That's really spreading across the entire board. Goddess of Weather. She doesn't seem to have a lot of cards, but those cards definitely seem powerful. For mobility for the teammates, along with hitting from a distance. So that's really good. Wolverine. Adamantium Claws. That's nice, but they're not tokens. So that's the only thing that I would say is semi-disadvantage. I mean, this is the equivalent of you having a move and then an attack thing, but then give you one additional attack. But yeah, like how a person might have a move and attack on the bottom of their card. It's not bad. And here you got an attack, a triple attack, Adamantium Claws. Adamantium Claws also again, but this one's even, yeah, it's pretty much better. So he's got 3 of the Adamantium Claws and 1 healing factor. Surprised that he doesn't have another hit factor. So he seems very basic as well. It's one of those kind of characters I feel like you may like Wolverine as a character, but his play is going to be pretty dull. And that is pretty much it, you guys. As always, like, share, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.